Welcome to the Engineering Update. I'm digital editor Jason Lundberg, and in this week's episode, 3D printed Army chow, solving wind energy problems, and a new kind of accelerometer. Anyone who doesn't enjoy the taste of burnt cardboard could tell you that the Army isn't known for its fine culinary selections. While troops can eat surprisingly well in Iraq and Afghanistan, for the most part, the military subsists on odious chow hall food or the infamous meals ready to eat, or MREs. And while each of these selections offer choices, like meat or vegetarian, none of them offers highly customizable meals tailored to the individual service member, and that's where 3D printing comes in. The Army's Soldier Research Development and Engineering Center in Natick, Massachusetts, is currently looking into the idea of bringing 3D printed food to the battlefield, creating nutrient yields and presumably choices custom-made for the individual. Not only would this allow for more variety on the menu, and not only would it make it easier for troops to stick to a specific meal plan tailored to their dietary needs, but it would be far cheaper and more efficient than shipping food from the home front. We've seen various examples of 3D printed meat or food-grade animal protein, and NASA has experimented with 3D printed nourishment for its astronauts, but the entire concept is still in its infancy. So military researchers would need to start from the beginning. They'd experiment with simpler concoctions like porridge or chocolate before moving on to more complex foods like a hamburger or a slice of pizza. And as the Army Times points out, a service member lacking in protein, carbohydrates, fat, or pretty much any essential nutrient could get a custom-made meal rich in omega-3s, anti-inflammatories, extra fiber, or reduced salt. The 3D printed confections will have to go through a number of tests, including the all-important taste test, judged by the soldiers themselves before they could be deployed in the field. The Army hopes to have a prototype 3D printer ready by 2019 at the latest.
Though wind energy might not be the most popular option for power, that hasn't stopped researchers from coming up with more affordable and user-friendly ways of capturing wind. The Air Energy 3D solves a few of the major wind energy problems. First of all, it's 3D printed, which means it's much cheaper to create than a typical turbine. Secondly, it's portable, so you can take it with you anywhere that it might prove useful. In fact, the whole thing fits in a backpack and can be assembled and disassembled without any tools. Thirdly, the creators are claiming it can produce up to 300 watts of power. The company that came up with the idea is Omni3D, and they say if they're able to maintain the 300 watt output, it will provide enough power to charge a small mobile device or power some lights. Not to mention, once they figure out the kinks, all the information and tech specs for the device will be available to anyone free of charge. There are a few catches though. While anyone will theoretically be able to print most of the parts on any 3D printer, there are a few that can be tricky, so Omni3D is going to offer these parts in a kit along with directions on how to install them. They're also working on how to create a base that can attach to a few different surfaces.
A company called M-Cube has created a new kind of accelerometer about 1 millimeter across, which could eventually add motion sense capabilities to clothing. Conventional accelerometers are composed of a mechanical device and a microchip, but the M-Cube device integrates both of these components on a single chip, leading to the drastic reduction in size and the possibility for motion sense in apparel, sports equipment, and items that didn't and couldn't have them before. The company also claims the new accelerometer could replace the gyroscope in a smartphone, which could enable motion sensing in even the dinkiest cellular devices and make the entire technology far more ubiquitous. A number of OEMs are already experimenting with using accelerometers in conjunction with sporting equipment using motion sense to judge golf swings, basketball angles, and other pertinent information. This new device could make accelerometers as native to sports as beer, hot dogs, and Cracker Jacks. M-Cube has already shipped 70 million of its new accelerometer to China, and presumably they'll come stateside sometime soon. And I forgot to write a conclusion. That's all for this edition of the Engineering Update. Be sure to check in on Twitter and Facebook and catch past episodes on ecnmag.com. For the ECN channel, I'm Jason Lundberg, and thanks for watching.